Hey guys, welcome back. In today's video, we are talking about how AA says AMC will boom, the 4-digit sell price, how shorts want you to go, and many more in this video. First, we take a look at this. Netflix Ted foolishly labeled a giant screens in movie theaters outdated and praised seeing movies on small screens at home. Of course, he said that's the product he sells, but last year's Americans went to theater 600 million times, and now cinemas are booming. Now, we're obviously taking a look at the comparison between traditional theater and, of course, Netflix themselves, and in terms of online streaming. What we can see is that movie theaters is still experiencing growth. We are still seeing a massive amount of people who are obviously willing to go. And again, most people in my comment section are always saying that they are constantly going to movie theaters and that they know that people will also go as well. And from the data, last year alone, 600 million times. And this year, we are going to be seeing even more. So this is firstly just taking a look at the comparisons of attendance for theater stocks. But when we dive deeper into what this is as well, it's talking about how Adam Aaron understands the value there is for AMC. When you take a look at the market cap of Netflix, you understand where it's at. And what we can see is how AMC, the movie theater, the whole industry, is still an industry that it's obviously growing and is still seeing an even higher ceiling. And so I do believe that Adam Aaron obviously meant a lot with this particular message, and is how he proceeds to tell us how AMC is extremely undervalued and why we're going to be looking at AMC price, of course, increase. But not only that, I think is more his talk about the under value in terms of how people are misjudging AMC as a whole. When you take a look at what the retail investors are thinking, you can see couldn't pass up this AMC price, so I picked up another 325 shares. Actually, I went to the movies last night and had a blast. Can't wait. Some excellent movies are coming out this year through 2027. Just to note, and like tons of others have stated, AMC should be similar to where CNK under normal circumstances, but we know what Wall Street and their corrupt cheating buddies have been doing and continue to do. So buy and hold with no intention of ever selling until the crime and corruption around and across Wall Street has obviously been covered. And so this is what we talked about. Now, yesterday in our video, we talked about the comparison between Cinemark and AMC. And we talked about how AMC should obviously see a higher price when we are in the same situation as Cinemark, but the only reason we don't is because how shorts are trapped and they need to manipulate and suppress AMC. But you can see that the general consensus of the retail investors, of the apes, and even institutional owners is that they are willing to buy into AMC. Now, when we take a look at why institutional investors are willing to buy AMC, it's because they understand how much potential there is for AMC. When you take a look at a value investment perspective, AMC is worthy of that. And that's why institutional investors are buying. But when we take a look at why the retails are buying, why the apes are buying, well, it's multiple reasons. There are people who are obviously buying for the squeeze, and not just because we want to obviously make millions with the squeeze. That is, of course, a big reason. But at this point, another reason has obviously occurred in terms of not only do we want to squeeze to benefit ourselves, but we want to squeeze so we can screw over these Wall Street firms who have been manipulating and, exploiting the retail over these past few years. And that's why we want this. And of course, we understand how much potential there is for AMC as well. We've been in this community for so long. We understand the value probably more so than these institutional investors, but there is just more reasons for why the retail are, of course, buying. And you can even see brackets, no, seeing $600 to $700 with my own eyes. 4 digits, I know what my shares are worth, and 6 digits wouldn't even do it if negotiations have to ensure between the broker and yourselves. NDA season is coming. Now, Robert M is someone who's obviously been in this community. Now, essentially, he's just talking about what we have seen in the past as well. When we take a look at the prices that AMC and GME has been at, you can even see this particular person. Back in January 2021, when this shit started, GME people were selling half shares for $5,500. Screenshot is out there. 600 or 700, yeah, short seller dream, get the F out of here. And this is just talking about, again, one thing. Firstly, we have seen how shorts were willing to pay an extremely high price. So that already confirms that the squeeze is there for AMC, that when the squeeze happens, we are able to offer a high amount of price for our shares to these short hedge funds. And that's because that's been done in the past before. Secondly, it's about understanding how, again, correlating with the first, the floor price will be extremely high, and how these shorts will not be able to get out just by paying $600 or $700 for per shares. Now, like I said, everyone obviously has different floor price in mind. I know that some people are willing to be selling at 500, but some people are only willing to sell at 5,000, and others are willing to sell at 10,000. And again, the range is a massive range. What I have to say is that obviously there is so much synthetic shares out there for them to cover, is that it's very likely that, the price will go extremely high. Now, this isn't me to tell you that you shouldn't be selling at X prices or you should be selling at X prices. As always, under the Ever Financial Advisor, do take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Make sure you do your own due diligence and research. Again, sell at your own price, but make sure you understand what the shares are worth. Make sure you understand what your time throughout these past few years have been worth, and make sure that everything is to your standard, of course, and understand that shorts were already willing to pay a large amount in the past. And now more on this, and you can see why shorts want you to go. Now, we just talked about one of the biggest reasons for why shorts want to go is because we are able to make them pay a large amount. We talked about the floor price just now, and we understand that they want to buy AMCs as well. When you take a look at what Cinemark is doing, what IMAX is doing, what any other theater company is doing, they are going up in price. That's because the movie theater industry is an industry to be investing in. They know that, we know that. The only reason why AMC isn't going up along with the industry is because AMC is mostly retail owned, and that the shorts are trapped. And if the AMC price were to go up, they will get squeezed and some firms will go bankrupt. That's the only reason why they don't want to buy into AMC, why they don't allow AMC price to go up, and why all these other theater stocks are, of course, going up. But what we also have to understand is that one of the things for them to actually get out of this situation is if all retail investors were to leave, and hence why we see articles like this. You can see even AMC stocks and diehard investors are losing interest as challenge persists. And so this was in the past when we see these articles. Now, firstly, already straight away, you know that this was a lie, because we have talked about this in the past before. When we see messages like this about how people are willing to buy up, when the very fact that when we see AMC at 271, the general consensus of the apes aren't that, oh my god, it's so low, let's sell, but rather, oh my god, it is such a big discount, let me buy more AMC. And that's what it has been. And so when you see these articles saying that people are losing interest, that isn't the case. Now, maybe you think that, okay, we are only seeing what we want to see, and that the people that are buying are only a small majority. Well, we've shown you with the OBV, and again, I want you to go check this out for yourselves as well, instead of you thinking that I'm just making this up. But when you take a look at the OBV value, what you will see is that the investors who have bought into AMCs have never left. This is the one common trait we have with the shorts, is that we have never left and we are continuously adding on. And again, that's what the shorts have been doing. The shorts have never left, and that they're still continuously increasing shorts. And it's why they make these articles, to make you believe and think that everyone's left, so you should leave as well. You can see another article, the meme stock revolution is over. Goldman Sachs says US retail investors have sold most of what they bought over the last 2 years. And this was an article back in 2022. Now, bear in mind that they were obviously talking about the meme stock, but yet fast forward 3 years to where we are now, they're still making the same articles saying people have left, saying people are leaving, saying that it's over, etc., etc. But what they fail to realize is that recently we talked about how Goldman Sachs also made an article saying how squeeze with stocks like GME is actually extremely possible, and we may likely to see that happen. And so you can see how they're only making these articles, and I wanted to show an old article just to prove my point of they only make these articles to create the incentive for you to sell, not because they actually think this is the case. And because they're contradicting themselves by saying, if most retail investors have sold the stock, how can they say that stocks like GME will likely experience a squeeze because retail investors are buying? Clearly that contradicts itself, and we see these articles every single year, so we know what's up. Anyway guys, thanks for watching the video. I'll catch you guys next time.